Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at Ask Adam Torres. And if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Landon Eckles on the line, and he's CEO and co-founder at Clean Juice and Free Coat. Landon, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, thank you so much for having me. I'm super happy to be with you today and looking forward to a great interview.
Man, Landon, we got a lot to talk about today. So first off, love having fellow podcasters on the show. I'm like, oh, you make my job easy. But then when I looked and we were kind of planning for this, I'm like, I get to talk about, your podcast. We even get to bring up Tim Tebow like in this. What? Like that, you don't get that every day. So we got a lot to cover. And I'm excited also to talk about the success of Clean Juice. What's been fueling it. Free Coat. I mean, you're a busy guy, so glad you made time for this interview, and happy to bring your story to our audience. And I'll start this interview the way that we start them all, with our Mission Matters Minute. So Landon, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Landon, what mission matters to you?
So our mission is pretty simple, and it comes from 3 John 1:2, and that is, dear friend, I hope all is well with you and that you're as healthy in body as you are strong in spirit. And that is really our tagline for all of our companies. We want to provide a truly healthy product and in an amazing environment across both of our brands, but we want to do it in an environment that's building love and kindness and friendship with our guests, with our employees, and our vendors. And so we believe that 3 John 1:2 really sums up our mission.
That's amazing, and love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts on the show, and to share their mission with our audience. So awesome stuff here. And I think just before we get into the business side and the announcements and all of this, like how'd you get started on this journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so our journey really started back in 2014. At that time, I was working for a boutique investment firm, and I was traveling a ton internationally. So our projects, we were developing real estate projects and raising funds for those projects, and they were all based in Asia. So I would be in Hong Kong and China and Vietnam, and I'd go for pretty long periods of time. At least it felt like really long periods of time, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 weeks. And at that point, my wife and I had 4 kids. Well, we had 3 kids and 1 on the way. So baby number 4 was on the way. And we just felt like, it was really hard to be a family unit while also, me being gone, most of the time. I'd come back from a trip and I'd be pretty jet lagged and tired, and just really kind of not really there. And then as I started to feel better, I'd be getting on another plane to go back over to Asia. And so, for us, we felt like, great job, great career path, but at what expense? And so for us, my wife and I, we had always wanted to go the entrepreneurial route. We had always wanted to do something together, and something that really benefited the community in which we lived in. And my wife has been super passionate about health and wellness for, I would say, 15 years now. She's a certified health coach and just really cares about eating clean and, doing things that are going to really benefit our bodies, right? It's part of our mission. So when we decided to go on the entrepreneurial route, we decided that we were going to open a juice bar. It was going to be certified organic, and it was going to be amazing. And so that's really how we got started.
Man, that's amazing. And what a story, what a journey. So you wanted to be more with your family. You wanted to, keep that family unit protected. And, there's some people watching this right now. So they're, possibly in that same situation, right? And I don't mean just age or with family. I just mean in general, they have a dream that they want to go out there and be an entrepreneur. And they may, different walks of life. So again, doesn't necessarily have to do anything with age. But they maybe haven't taken that step. And I know we all learn from the ups and the downs. Like, this is my first successful business. I'm probably 20 businesses in. So I'm the first to pick on myself, right? Yeah. Since I was a kid, I'm probably 20 businesses in, finally got something that worked well, that matched me, and, God kept me on that path, and I've continued to do it, and we've just continued to be blessed. So again, 20 businesses later though. So there's some people watching that are maybe a little bit earlier in their entrepreneurial career. And again, knowing we learn from the ups and the downs and everything's in between. What kind of things would you tell people that are watching this that are considering being an entrepreneur, maybe for the first time or the second time? And like, cause you did it. Like there's one thing to kind of dream about and want to do it, but you did it.
Yeah. It's a great question. I would say that first and foremost, you got to go with your gut. I think that getting advice of people you love and getting, advice of people who are around you is good and it's important. You should go and seek that advice. But at the same time, only only
Mhm.
you know what you're passionate about. If we would have listened to the people in the beginning around, moving, because we were up in the Northeast at the time, we moved down to Charlotte we wanted to be in Charlotte, but we moved there to open Clean Juice. Had we listened to some of the closest people around us, Clean Juice wouldn't exist today. And
Mm.
so, you got to listen to your gut. That's step number one. And it's not just listening. I think a lot of times we want to look at a business plan. We want to put it together. We want to make sure everything is perfect and buttoned up and beautiful. And, it's on a 20-page presentation before we take that leap of faith. But dude, my business is so different today than what I thought it was going to be 5, 6, 7 years ago. If I waited until I perfected it on paper, I'd still be waiting, right? And so at some point, you just got to take that leap of faith, and that's exactly what it is. It's a risk. Entrepreneurship is
Mhm.
essentially it's risk management, right? And there is risk in it, but there's also a lot of reward. So if you don't like risk, it's probably not going to be the right thing for you. Kind of like what
Mhm.
you alluded to, you're probably going to fail again, fail again.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's going to work out.
I don't know, Landon. I don't know if I buy this from you. So hold on. You have this successful career. You're traveling internationally. You're raising funds. You're in real estate, very traditional industry. And so you're telling me everyone around you wasn't like thrilled and excited. You're going to open a juice bar? Are you kidding me?
Gonna do
What a
what?
great idea. That's never been done.
Yeah,
Is that
you're
what you're telling me happened?
That's exactly what I'm telling you would happen. And I mean, it's funny. You're right. Like people, they were like, "You have this great job. Like you're
Mhm.
doing well financially. You guys are, you
Yeah.
know, situated in
You
this
have kids,
community. You
right?
got
And another
kids.
one on the way.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
another one on the way. Are you kidding me? You
Right.
can't do that. You're going to open a juice bar?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, at some point, but our calling, our gut, and when
Yeah,
I say gut, to me, that's a calling, right? Our
for sure.
calling was to come down to Charlotte. We always felt called to this area. And our calling was to open something that we felt was going to benefit the community. And that's what we wanted to do. And
Yeah.
it's funny, we moved down to Charlotte in the summer of 2014, and we didn't open Clean Juice until the summer of 2015. And I had
Mm.
quit my job, right? So
Yeah.
1 year, no income, all going out, talk about a leap of faith, but at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, it was a gamble, but it was a gamble that paid off because we believed that, we were just following a calling. And when you have that conviction behind you, it's much less of a feeling of a gamble. It
Mhm.
ultimately is, but it feels like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I think until you find that, it's hard to describe and it's hard to articulate. But once you
Mhm.
find that and you feel that, man, there's really nothing better.
Yeah, it's so funny because as I'm listening to you and your story, I'm thinking about my own, and I'm like, yeah. So when I left, financial being a financial advisor and financial services, very traditional. I'm almost 14 years in that career. Every license you can think of, 6, 7, 63, CFP,
Oh,
AIMS, like you name it, and managing, quite a bit in assets, client base, all these other things. Yeah, I'm gonna go be a podcaster and a media guy. Yeah, what do you have a plan? Do you have any training? Do you have no, but I have a phone, I have some headphones, and I think I can use this service. And like like people thought I was crazy. And then,
yep.
yeah, and I'm gonna publish books. I'm gonna do that. And they're like, Adam, what are you talking about right now? You've never published, you've never written a book, you've never done any of this in your life. What are you even talking about? And if I had
Exactly.
listened to them, like then nothing would have happened that took place, because you couldn't have written this down. I couldn't have been like, oh yeah, thousands of people are going to want to talk to me and we're going to be on a show and all these other, all God. This is all God. Well, it's always all God, but sometimes
Yeah.
we think we're in control. But
Yeah.
like when you follow that calling, and as you say, I like the word, but you look at you use the word calling. I use the word like signpost. Like there's these
Yeah.
posts that are there that you get this uncommon thing that happens and you're like, Well, that isn't me, that's for sure. That's just too uncommon. Like, and then those add up and it keeps happening and doors open and other things happen that are uncommon. Then after a while, I personally believe that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, pretty obvious. Yeah, this is a calling. This isn't like just luck or some random occurrences that happen,
Yep.
that are just random. Like, it's just not the case. And so I know a big part of like your belief system and mine also is really that idea of being like faith based and
Yep.
thinking about how that intertwines into the day to day of business and just the way you live your life. Tell me a little bit more about what that means to you.
Yeah. When we started Clean Juice, like I said, we felt like it was a calling from God to
Yeah,
come down here and do this. And so, for us, that actually took a lot of the risk out because, once you're following something that you really believe in,
yeah,
you don't feel like you're taking that gamble anymore, like I said. But, for us, we felt like it was a calling. We felt like we wanted to run the business,
mhm,
like how we, like love on our kids. I mean, like for us, we are who we are, whether
yeah,
we're now sitting here as a CEO of Clean Juice, or whether I'm sitting at home with my 5 kids or hanging out with friends, like I am who I am. And so, we wanted to not be somebody different from business and then
mhm,
different at the home. It's like, for us, this is a calling. All of our core values are biblically based. Our
mhm,
core values, I believe, are good, right? They're
mhm,
around, transparency and hard work and loving on our guests and respecting each other.
mhm,
I could go down the list, but they're all good values, and they're
mhm,
values that we created really day one that have stuck with us to 180 locations around the country. And
yeah,
so, for me as a leader now of Clean Juice, I go through these values every single week with our team.
mhm,
They're posted in every single room in our office. In fact, you can see them right there behind me.
yeah,
Our core values are core to what we do. And, they're the first thing that we share with our franchisees when we're
mhm,
telling them about our business.
mhm,
Because, you can do a lot of great things in business, and there's a lot of different ways to achieve the outcome of profitability and all this stuff.
yeah,
But the values are how the business is guided. And so,
mhm,
for us, I want to make sure they're not just something we hang on the wall, but they're talked about every single day. They're
mhm,
part of reviews. They're in our culture, and they're not just something that we see. They're something that we see and we talk about and we
yeah,
use to build the business. And that's, to me, that's what it means to have values. And a company doesn't have to have biblically based values. We do, because we choose. We believe that's our calling.
yeah,
But at the same time, I believe you have to have a North Star. You have to have
mhm,
something that's bigger and greater than just making money. You have to have something that guides you and gives you principle behind what you're doing. And so for us, that's, again, our mission, what we talked about earlier, and then our core values.
that's awesome. So I want to go. We've kind of alluded to it. We understand, the business of juice, the name of it, right? Clean juice. But let's go further. So tell us a little bit more about the company.
So it's interesting, our name is Clean Juice. And
Mhm.
so most people are like, wow, juice bar. Like, you're right. Yes, we do juice. We do fresh juice. We do bottled juice. We do juice cleanses. So if you want a great, organic,
Mhm.
amazing tasting juice, you can absolutely come to us and you're going to
Yes.
get, in my opinion, the best in class product. Our
Mhm.
products are certified organic. They're not HPP or processed
Mhm.
in any way. They're super clean. And they're, you can't buy what we serve even at a Whole Foods, because all the juice there is processed in some way. Our juices are raw and they're natural and they're organic and there's no sugar added. And they're delicious too. So they're all
Mhm.
of those things. So we do juice really well. But we also do smoothies really well.
Mhm.
Smoothies make up actually a larger percentage of our sales than juice does. So
Mhm.
juice is about 30% of our sales, and smoothies are about 40% of our sales. I'm no mathematician, but we've got about 30% left, right, in terms of what the
Yeah.
sales mix is. And that's actually made up by food. And so a lot of
Mm.
people don't know this, but Clean Juice serves salads and wraps and acai bowls and toasts and sandwiches. Again, all certified organic, all really good for you, healthy,
Mhm.
but just a different category and a different offering for different
Mhm.
people, right? Our goal is to, and what I call, broaden the top of the funnel to bring
Mhm.
more guests into our stores, because not everyone drinks green juice, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But everyone can find a product or a category at Clean Juice that they like to eat. And so that's our goal. We don't want to pigeonhole ourselves to one, type of consumer. We want to serve healthy food to everybody. And
Mm.
so that's really our goal behind what we're serving at Clean Juice.
Mm. And you mentioned the franchises. So I believe you said over 180. So you're operating on a franchise model. I don't want to assume that everybody that's watching this understands what that means. Go a little bit further on that for me, please.
Absolutely. So we opened the first location in 2015.
Hmm.
And then that store did really well. So we decided to open a couple more locations that we owned from there. And so we opened a location about 40 minutes away in another part of Charlotte. We opened a location about 4 hours away from us on the beach in North Carolina in a town called Wilmington. And then we opened a fourth location back in Charlotte. And so each location we opened was opening with success. And I think before you franchise, I think it's hard to franchise something you open one of. It's like it could
Yeah.
have just been a flash in the pan, but we saw success in different parts of Charlotte, and then we saw
Hmm.
success regionally
Wow.
at a store that's 4 hours away on the beach.
Hmm.
So the point there is that no one in Wilmington had ever heard of Clean Juice before. We just opened, and people were like, "Wow, this place is awesome! I love it," and it did well. From there, we felt like we had some great grounds to build a franchise concept off
Hmm.
of. And at the same time, everyone was coming in and saying, "Hey, is this a franchise, or can you guys franchise? Could I open this in my neck of the woods?"
Wow.
Basically, what a franchise is our franchisees, they own their business, right? They open their Clean Juice, so they're opening it up an LLC, but we give them the brand. We
Mhm.
teach them how to do everything in terms of operating the store. We help them find the real estate. We help them find a general contractor and an architect. We basically help them through every single step of getting open.
Wow.
And for that, we collect a fee for doing that, right?
Mhm.
So for them, it's great because together they're now joining a brand that has hundreds of locations across the country. So there's some brand identity there, and it's different than just opening kind of a mom and pop and hoping that it does well.
Mhm.
So there's some, there's that, but then there's also all the help. We have 35 people here at the home office to support our franchisees' growth. And
Wow.
so we have 110 open locations. We have another 70 in development, and that's how we get to the
Mhm.
180 stores across the country. And man, we're really just getting started.
That's amazing. And so as a franchisor, what do you typically look for in your franchisees? Like who you invite into that Clean Juice family, so to speak?
Yeah. We spend a lot of time getting to know our franchisees.
Yeah.
Here at the home office, we make two really big decisions. And the first one is, who's our franchisee going to be? And the second one is, where's their location going to be?
Mm.
And so we spend a lot of time on those things. So on the front end, our franchise development team, our team that really specializes on getting to know the franchisees, the
Yeah.
process is about 3 to 4 months. So from the time they first call us or email us to the time they sign their franchise agreement, that's about a 4 month process.
Wow.
And so we're getting to know them. They're getting to know us. We disclose them with our franchise disclosure document, which is basically a 300-page document that says all about what the franchise offering is.
Mhm.
So they have time to go through that. They talk to our VP of development. They
Mhm.
talk to our real estate people just to make sure that we're kind of headed in the right direction in terms of
Yeah.
where their store might go. But that's a pretty tedious and lengthy process because
Mhm.
we've already awarded a lot of franchises, and we have a responsibility to our current franchise family
Yeah.
to bring in great partners. So one thing my wife and I do differently, I think, than most franchisors is
Mhm.
we sit down with every potential franchisee for over an hour once they come to our home office and get to know them and to hear their hearts for the business, because we want franchisees who are more, about more than just making money, right? You can make a
Yeah.
lot of money opening a Clean Juice, but at the same time, that's not what it's really about, right? It's
Mhm.
about doing a lot of great stuff in the community, and one of the outcomes is making money, and that's important, but it's not why we do what we do.
So have to bring this up. So Tim Tebow, like how do you get Tim Tebow? Like how does this work into Clean Juice? I'm like when I kind of was preparing for this and I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, what a special story. Like how'd
Yeah.
all that come about?
So I've been getting to know Tim for almost a year now.
Mm.
We got in touch, basically some mutual friends in
Mhm.
Jacksonville. So he's from the Jacksonville, Florida area.
Yeah.
We opened a store down there called Nakati, and our franchise partner down there had some connections of folks who were in his camp. And
Mm,
so we got in touch with him first because we were really interested in supporting him through his Tim Tebow Foundation. So
mm,
there's a big philanthropic piece to this. So that's how the conversation started. We have a foundation ourselves called Quarters for Kids, where we
mhm,
where we raise money for children with different needs across the country,
yeah.
sometimes very locally in markets, and then sometimes nationally with the different foundations that we partner with.
Mhm,
But knowing all that Tim does for his foundation, the Tim Tebow Foundation, we were really interested in talking about that. And so we got to know him. We got to know his
yeah.
heart for, obviously he's a healthy guy, but he's a really healthy guy, right? And so, as we started to get to know him more, he just, the more we talked, the more we thought it made a lot of sense to
Mm,
talk more about what a business partnership could look like. And
mm,
so we were blessed enough to sign a national brand ambassador deal with him over the summer. So he's become an integral part of our brand. He, from social media posting to we just launched our first national television commercial with Tim Tebow that did really, really well. That ran in August. So I mean, he's just a massive partner of ours now,
mhm,
and we're actually opening stores together as well. So the first one will open up in Jacksonville probably next year with Tim. So we're super excited about that. And I mean, we really couldn't have carved a better, ambassador for the brand just from the faith perspective, the
mhm,
philanthropic perspective, the health and wellness perspective. Oh, and
yeah.
by the way, he's great to look at, right? The ladies love him. And so, he's got a great following there. He's got a great family. His wife's incredible,
Mhm.
and so, he's just an awesome guy.
Man, when you talk about like calling and you talk about like things lining up and you're like, yeah, we know it's God, but like that's definitely God. Like those type of things, like it's just amazing. Like when you think about like the concept and when you kind of like you connect the dots going backwards and you're thinking about like that original decision to leave real estate, traveling, doing all these other things that you're supposed to do to open up a juice bar, right?
Yep.
Like, and now you look at it, fast forward through these years, you're like hundreds of locations. We got Tim Tebow, we have all these things going. You're providing opportunities. So we haven't even really talked much about that, but opportunities not just to the franchisees, but their employees. Like you're helping communities. You're also helping them with in terms of the culture of their culture and spreading what you do onto the employees and onto the workforce there. So like there's this multiplying effect of doing good, not just of course, as you mentioned, the monetary thing of being able to now be able to afford to give back monetarily to different foundations and to support different initiatives. I mean, this is all like part of, being a blessing when you've been blessed, right?
Yeah, that's 100% right. We just had our national franchisee convention last week called Juice Jam. And so we brought all of our franchisees to Orlando. We spent 3 days just going
Mm,
over new menu items that we're launching, going over, new brand initiatives, and just a really, really amazing event.
yeah.
But one of the coolest things from that event was we got to announce our scholarship winners for this
Mm,
year. And so we here at Clean Juice, we give back, I think it was close to $20,000
wow.
in scholarships to Clean Juice employees. So we had 3 scholarship winners of $5,000 and then a bunch of $500 winners.
Mhm.
And, for them, for younger employees who are, going to school and, kind of going through that grind, I mean, for them, it was a huge blessing. And so, we're blessed to be a blessing, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. But again, it's something that we care about. It's something that we want to make sure that we're pouring into the communities that we serve, not just the guests, but the employees and different foundations and things like that. We feel like if we do a good job there, then we're going to build a good brand in return.
So as if you're not busy enough, there's free coat. So how did this come about? So as I'm kind of going through your journey, I'm like, okay, Clean Juice is taking off. You got a lot going on, not easy to run that, like to pull off what you're doing. And so now tell us a little bit more about Free Coat. I understand you have another business.
Yes. So we launched Free Coat last year. Free Coat is a non-toxic beauty bar. We specialize in nails, right? So manicures, pedicures.
Mhm,
We do a lot of other things, but that's kind of the primary part of the business. We do a non-toxic waxing service. We
mm,
have an infrared sauna. So we feel like beauty is a category that could get cleaned up as well, right? We're
yeah.
we obviously have done an awesome job with Clean Juice in terms of bringing a USDA certified organic product to the masses in a
Mhm,
in a fast casual setting. But in terms of beauty, we feel like there's a lot of work to do there, to make that experience a healthy one. Unfortunately, in the nail salon industry, they use a lot of toxic chemicals. When you walk into a nail salon, the first thing a traditional one, you're going to notice kind of a pretty tough smell,
Yeah.
that's pretty chemical laden. And, unfortunately, the nail techs who are working in that environment, their lives are actually shortened by 8 to 10 years if they have a
Wow.
long-term career, just because of the industry that they chose to work in. And
Mm,
so at our salons, you walk in, you don't smell that chemical smell. We don't
mm,
use the polishes and the different toxins. And so our employees, they don't have to worry about that. And of course,
mm,
our guests don't either. And so we've taken a lot of the things that are toxic out, and we've really, I think, modernized the
mm,
experience. Our salons are absolutely beautiful. It's a younger concept for us, so we have 5 locations opened, and several more in development, but it's one that we're really passionate about. And again, when you roll it back to our mission of, dear
yeah.
friend, I hope all is well with you and that you're as healthy in body as you are strong in spirit. We believe that we can bring that to not just food, but to the beauty category as well. So we're excited for where that brand's going to go.
What kind of response have you gotten from the market from that one? I'm curious because it's different. Like it's a different concept. At least
It
for
is.
what I know about nail salons and things like that is very different. Like when you talk about the smell and the other things, like even
Yeah.
I feel like most people don't even know that there's an alternative, and maybe in
Right.
many markets there isn't an alternative. So I feel like you're the alternative if they understand that that's even a possibility. Like what kind of feedback have you gotten?
Yeah, so it's the first of its kind, right? And so
Yeah.
there's a learning curve there. And when people
Mm.
walk in, they're like, this place is amazing. It's like, first of all, it's beautifully designed because it's not designed by me. It's designed by my wife, right?
Got it.
So it's beautifully designed, really light and airy colors. So light pinks and whites, gold fixtures. I mean, just really, really beautiful, store design. So when our guests walk in, they're greeted by somebody who's really super friendly, offers them, a juice or a glass of champagne or something, just a really
Yeah.
warm and welcoming experience. Um, and then, they also notice that, our nail techs are super sweet.
Mm,
And, we don't, like, obviously we train them on experience, but at the same time, we just
mm,
hire great people.
mhm.
And so then they notice the techniques that we go through, and
Yeah.
some of the different things that we don't use and use. And so it's really just a unique experience. And
Yeah.
so I think the best way I can say it is that we get a ton of feedback on social media because
Mm.
people are like, they're socializing their experience because it's so different.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of really good feedback there. But I think that this is really a great brand for the future, because it is so unique, but it's not so unique in that we're creating a whole new category. Again,
Mhm.
we're just making the category, from my perspective, a lot better.
Amazing. So now the fellow podcaster, the Be Organic podcast, like how did this come about? Like what was the inspiration?
Yeah, so we launched Be Organic, I would say it was about 18 months ago or so.
Hmm.
And the inspiration was a couple things. Number one, we were connected with so many amazing people in the health and wellness category.
Yeah.
And so we just felt like, there was a lot to talk about there. And
Mm,
we were doing something and are doing something unique in clean juice. And the fact that we're certified organic and bringing something that's truly healthy to our communities,
mhm.
we had a lot to say there, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of our goals was, and still is, we want to become an authority in this category.
Mm,
And we want to be looked at as somebody, that folks can trust when they're
mhm,
thinking about health and wellness, when they want to get educated, when they want to learn about, alternative ways to improve their health and wellness.
mhm,
So Be Organic, that's exactly what we're about. We don't just talk about organic food. I mean, we
mhm,
talk about that sometimes, but man, we talk about infrared sauna. We talk about martial arts. We talk about, I mean, just so many different things. We bring on so many different people who are passionate
mm,
about health and wellness. We've brought on holistic doctors. We've brought
mhm.
on just so many different types of people to get a different perspective on, how to improve your way to live. And so that's what we're doing there. It's been an
Mhm.
amazing podcast. We've had a couple 100,000 downloads of it already.
Amazing.
So it's been awesome.
So I'll ask you a very unfair question that I ask all my podcasters that come on this show. It's kind of like asking people to choose between their kids. Like, why would you do that as a host? It's mean, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Go
Can you
for
tell
it.
us what one of your favorite episodes were? It's like saying, which episode am I supposed to choose? Like,
Yeah.
what was one of your favorite episodes? And I teed it up right to let you know it's not a fair question.
Yeah, no, so I would say one of my favorites,
Mhm.
we actually just did a podcast with Tebow.
Mm,
That one has been amazing because we really dive into him and what he's all
mm,
about, why he chose to partner with Clean Juice.
yeah.
I can talk to you all day about, why it's a great partnership, but to hear it from him, how
Wow.
much he trusts us, how much he trusts our brand, the fact that he's very selective on who he partners with. For me, as a business owner, it was just to get somebody like him as that type of
Mm,
validation was so special. And so, that's a great one. Obviously, we've had some other ones like we've had Dr. Axe on twice,
mm,
and he's just an amazing professional in the health and wellness
mm.
category, and just is so smart around different things that you can do to better your health and wellness. So he's incredible. We've had some amazing guests, but you're right, it's definitely hard to choose.
I always like to ask that one. I'm like, I know it's terrible. And the worst thing is I hate when somebody asks me that question. I'm like, I just go blank every time. I'm like, don't do that to me.
Yeah,
Oh, but the joy, right? The joy of
yeah,
being a
yeah,
podcaster.
exactly.
So you got a lot on your plate, obviously a lot of great things going. I have to ask, like, so what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the brands? What's next for you?
Yep. So, I mean, what's next is we feel like we've got two amazing brands with Clean
Mhm,
Juice and with Free Coat. Our goal, keep bringing in amazing
mhm.
partners, keep finding great real estate, keep perfecting the business model.
Yeah.
We believe Clean Juice is easily a 1,000 unit brand. And
Mhm.
so, we're 10, 20% of the way there. And so, we're going to keep going, keep growing. We've got an amazing home office team, some just highly sophisticated individuals who
Mhm.
are really good at knowing how to run clean juices, develop them,
Mhm.
support them from a marketing perspective. We just feel very, very blessed with the team we've been able to build. And then, of course, we've got this new baby in Free Coat, right? So
Yeah.
that's taken up some time too. And, getting the education around there around what that brand is and what it can mean to people. What's cool is that when people come in and they see Clean Juice, they're like, whoa, tell me about Free Coat, right? And so
Yeah.
they're getting really excited about it. And so I think that that's going to be an amazing brand too. The podcast keeps us busy, and
Mhm.
Tim keeps us busy too. I mean, he's awesome. Like, he was just in our office last week,
Mm.
getting our team fired up right before our franchisee convention. So he's a massive part of the brand, and so I'm sure I'm keeping him more busy than he's keeping me. But at the same time, we've got a lot going on, but we still carve out time for ourselves too.
Mm.
We spend in our free time, we spend time with the kids and hang out with our kids and their friends typically.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Man, that's awesome. What a great story. I mean, this is one of those feel good stories where you just see, like, you see that all the blessing that you've been given, and that you're also being for other people. You see the path, you see the growth, and it's just one of those things where you're just affecting so many lives. And even like you said, you're 20% there. Like, as it grows, as your vision grows, I'm like, I just can't wait to continue to follow the journey, follow what you're doing. And so, speaking of that, so if somebody's watching this right now and they want to learn more about, of course, Clean Juice, about all the brands, about the podcast, like, how do people follow? How do they follow along?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I've got a ton of great followers and a great platform on there. So pretty easy to find. I think I'm the only Landon Eckles that's out there. So easy to find me there. In terms of Clean Juice, I mean, cleanjuice.com, is definitely a great portal. You can go to cleanjuicefranchising.com if you're interested in learning about our franchise opportunity. We've also got an amazing app that's been downloaded, like, I think 500,000 times now.
Wow.
Just Clean Juice at the App Store. So, um, in terms of our podcast, I mean, it's called Be Organic. So it's where anybody is downloading podcasts, we're going to be there. So just look up Be Organic. And then lastly, with Freecoat, it's freecoatnails.com, and you can learn about our team. You can learn about if you want to check out where we might have a location to set up an appointment,
Mhm.
and also learn about our franchise offerings. So those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
Fantastic. Well, Landon, I'll just tell you, it has been an absolute pleasure working with you today and collaborating on this. Love having fellow podcasters on and all the other great things you're doing. Of course, those websites you mentioned, all that, we'll have that in the show notes so that our viewers and listeners can just go pop on over and check out all the great work you're doing. I look forward to seeing the growth of Clean Juice and all the rest of the brands. So it really has been a pleasure. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in, especially if you're a first time listener or viewer. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We definitely want you to be a return visitor. We have many, many more mission based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts coming on, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Landon, wishing you much more continued success. And thank you again for making time for the interview today.
Thank you, Adam. It's great to talk to you again, and just appreciate you, brother. Appreciate everything you're doing. And thanks so much for having me on the show.